Okay, so welcome to the Lunch and Learn series for today. I think we're a tiny bit early, so just going to introduce myself while we just wait for another moment or two. So I'm Shannon Mandadi, and I am a blind parent who is currently working at Savvy Services for the Blind. I'm the services manager in the Phoenix office, which is a pretty awesome gig because I get to work with a bunch of amazing staff and all the amazing students. So it's pretty great. So when I'm not working at Savvy, I am a mom to two fantastic little people. I have a son who just turned 5, actually a couple weeks ago. I also have a daughter who is about to turn 3. She does believe that she's, hey, Emma and Ethan, hey babies, I love you. Emma is almost 3. She does believe that she's 25, so that is quite the adventure. But they are great kids. And so I'm going to be speaking today about what I know, which is being a blind parent in this crazy time of Corona. Because, okay, so let's just back up for a second. I think being a parent is just an insane adventure. It's just quite the roller coaster for me personally, just like on a good day, like on a normal, non-world health crisis happening kind of an average day. It's challenging to balance work and marriage and children and social life, and right, for all of us it just is the balance that we all strive for. And so throw into the mix this pandemic and quarantine and stress of uncertain times. It is just, I don't know, I'm sure everyone's experience is unique, so I'm not the expert on what is the perfect way of handling it, but I am just going to speak to you about what my experience has been and some of the things that my family has done to get through this far, and hopefully to keep being successful doing that throughout this adventure. So, oh yes, please, absolutely comment below. Thank you, Scott, my assistant here. So please comment below if there's any questions or thoughts or anything. Please feel free. So my thinking is this. I was very used to, like many of you, a pretty hectic schedule before all this stay-at-home business began. My day was pretty much up at 4:30 or 5, do awesome family stuff in the morning, get all dressed up, go to work, have a busy day of meetings all day, then go to the gym, then maybe stop by the store, then get home for more, kid madness, bonanza. My children both go to a really great preschool right near our house, which is an amazing experience because they love it and they're learning a lot and they're really engaged and it's wonderful. But I get this great time with them in the morning and the evening and all weekend, and it's great. So then all of a sudden we switch to, okay, we're all staying at home, but we're still working. And so I'm incredibly grateful that I work for Savvy, because everyone at Savvy is really just understanding and supportive and completely cool with, hey, you have a family life, you gotta do what you gotta do, and there's a lot of flexibility. So I'm really grateful for that. And at the same time, it's still really tough because I'm at home trying to focus and really, do things that need to be done for my job. And in the background, I have these like wild yelling children, as they should be, because they're 5 and 3 and they're just trying to do what they can in their day, right? And so I think as I've talked to a lot of my friends, some parents who are blind, some who are sighted. I think a lot of us are having really similar struggles. I think one thing that stands out to me that's a real challenge that some of my friends have not faced as much, as a blind individual, so I'm not, obviously I don't drive, but I'm not taking any public transportation right now, not doing the bus, not doing paratransit, Lyft. I would if I had something urgent or I absolutely needed to do that, but I'm really trying to avoid that right now for health reasons. So there is no longer the ability to just, first of all, go have my own time to just really not that we can be going places right now, but even if I wanted to try to, go to South Mountain, which isn't terribly, terribly far from my house, or take the kids there, just doing that by myself is not something that's happening right now. So we're doing a lot of walks around the neighborhood, which is awesome, but that's been a little bit frustrating, losing that ability to just be able to get anywhere around town that I want to be. That's something I really love and I use all the time in different ways, and so that's been definitely a challenge. I am grateful that I have a great husband, and we've got a good system going. And as you may notice, as I'm talking, you are not hearing children in the background, because this is kind of part of my self-care today. It was like arranging to have some space alone to just be able to have this conversation with you, which I think is really important. I'm going to talk about the importance of self-care for sure as parents as we go along here. So, okay, so how I've been sort of getting along. I think the first week was madness for me. Didn't really have a schedule yet. I think for my children, and certainly for me, having a really set schedule is helpful. It helps to just keep me on track, and I think same for my kids. So to go from a really structured, regimented schedule to not was a big shift. So what we've started doing, I'm grateful that I've gotten a lot of experience with work on doing Zoom meetings, because my kids' preschool is actually having some of their reading groups and circle time and music class all over Zoom, which is actually really cool because it's successful, it's working great, it's been actually going really well. The cool thing about that is that then that's helping to add some structure into my kids' day. They both get to see their teachers and talk to friends and just connect in that way, because I think it's hard for kids to understand what's going on. Certainly want to note, this is going to be really different for everybody. I would think in large part due to what age your children are, because I do have to say I feel like it's easier that my kids are a little bit smaller, because I do have some friends with older kids and they are in full-on homeschool mode. And so more power to you if that's where you're at right now. And if this is something that you do all the time, if you are either a stay-at-home parent or a homeschooling parent, bless you. That's amazing. I don't have that gift. I don't have that. That's just not my forte. But I think that's incredible for those of you that is a fit for. So Zoom classes for the kids has been really huge. I've tried to get creative with things, changing up my daily activities. So my work schedule, like I said, really flexible, which is amazing. So I'm kind of, working for 2 hours, then I'm with the kids, then working again. So that's pretty cool. But things that I used to try to do when the kids were maybe in the backyard on a Saturday with my husband, I would then go, okay, I'm going to go do all the kids' laundry and go do all the cleaning and take care of things. Well, there's never really a time, unless they're in the backyard, there's never really a time that the kids aren't home, or that they're not out at their lessons, they're not at swim lessons, they're not away. So I've started to involve them in things. So laundry, for instance, I've started to make that a chore that they're involved in, which, it's never too young to get them involved, right, at an age-appropriate level. So I'll bring the kids and okay, great, my daughter Emma, and we're going to, be picking out things to, let's get all the blankets and the sheets, and so just sort of making her a part of that process, and my son as well. So I don't know how much they love that, but I think it's important to get them involved, and then we're still having time and hopefully having some learning moments together. So then, of course, cooking is always great. I am not the lover of cooking, so let me just put that out there right now. But I do think it's important to involve your kids in whatever type of cooking, baking, food preparation you're doing. And the other day, it was fun because I have very fond memories of making little pizzas, little English muffin pizzas when I was a kid. I don't know why this was very thrilling. It was the 80s. I don't know. It was just, I don't know why that was so fun, but I thought that was really fantastic. So we did that with the kids the other day. So now you set up the little assembly line of all of the different ingredients, and they can really participate in doing that themselves and learning how to get the sauce on and how much cheese do they want. And so it's like a little independent living skills lesson for them. So I really have enjoyed trying to involve them in any way that I can with that, because again, life has previously was so hectic and busy. It would just sort of be like, I'm just doing this for them. I'm just getting things ready for them, and then they're eating. And now I'm like, let's take a step back. Let's get them more involved. They're old enough, and then this is actually kind of a cool time for them to get more involved. So I do have a recipe that Scott's going to put up for us, just so you have access to it. Awesome. Thank you, Scott. So we have this recipe, and this is they're technically called skinny peanut butter banana muffins. I'm not sure how skinny a muffin can be, but it is definitely a healthier option if you're into baking something and a cool way to involve the kids. These are delicious. They are absolutely delicious. And if you do want some comfort food, which right now is not such a terrible idea sometimes, they're fantastic, and you can make a lot of healthier choices with what you're putting in them. I know it's getting a little hot if you're in Arizona, so baking may not, it's kind of getting past the baking season. I personally prefer that over cooking, so I just crank down the AC and we go for it anyway, even in the summer. So try those because they are fantastic. I think just any activity you can do. I think it's a cool time to be doing lots of outdoor activity. Hopefully that's going to switch to swimming soon since it's getting so hot. One thing that's been actually a nice other sort of a little activity I've involved the kids in is the other day I was practicing with my slate and stylus. I'm not amazing at slate by any means, and I'm really trying to work on that. And so I, was showing the kids like, hey guys, and because they know a bit about Braille. My son's been to Bell, and they were just really interested and intrigued by how the slate and stylus worked. So just trying to look at like everything I'm doing during my day, how can I involve them in a way that might be engaging and just gives us some space to be together and involve them. Okay, great. What's that question, Scott? I can answer that. Got a question about isolation. Yeah. So the question is about how to explain to your kids social distance and how to just deal with that difficulty, because this is coming from Seth, who has a very social little 5-year-old. And I totally agree, Seth. It is definitely one of the most difficult parts. I mean, I think as adults, it's hard enough for us to sort of grasp what's happening, right? So to be able to explain that to a child, I think it's been an ongoing challenge for us. So, when we do our walks and we walk around, and we inevitably run into a lot of neighbors just in passing because everyone is trying to be out of their house and doing something while this nice weather's lasting. And so we we really encourage the kids, okay, we say hi to everybody. Let's say hi right now. This is about as close as we can be because we're really maintaining that distance. I feel like we talk to the kids. I don't know that they fully understand it either. They really want to see their friends. They want to see Gavin. They want to see the friends at their school. They don't fully understand. So we just, whenever the questions do come up, we just talk to them about health and safety for everybody, that it's not just about us, that it's also, we want to make sure that our friends are safe and healthy and our grandparents, and that it's just, right now there is a virus, the kids know that word, then there's a virus, and that the best way we can be safe and take care of each other right now is to be apart. And we really just try to remind them, like, this is not going to last forever. Oh, that's hard because we don't know when it's going to end, right? We can't say like, this much more time because we don't know. So I agree with you, Seth, and I think it's something that we've been having to work through piece by piece, and I think it's going to probably keep coming up because in the time they'll be like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and then 2 days later, well, why can't we play with our friends? So yeah, Ethan actually said to me the other day, which was so sweet. He said the other day, I think when I'm a grown-up, maybe I could be a scientist or a doctor so that I could figure out how to fix the virus. I was like, right in my heart, just like, so yeah, so very sweet. And it's tough with kids because the uncertainty that we feel, of course, imagine, of course, what these little guys are feeling. So I think just talking it through, just doing our best to keep them involved at an age-appropriate level in that conversation is the best I've been able to come to so far. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to talk to you next about Insight Timer. And anybody from Savvy who knows me knows, I just want to be clear, I don't actually work for Insight Timer, but I love them so much that I talk about it all the time. This is a free app. You can pay for an upgraded version. I've honestly never paid for it. I've only ever used the free version, and it is fantastic. So if you are not into meditation or whatever, I totally get that. It's completely cool. It's not for everybody. But if you've never tried it, it's a free app. So, got a little extra time on your hands, you may want to check it out. So this is a mindfulness and meditation app that you can check out. They do have some things that involve kids and mindfulness. It is mostly for kids that are a little bit older than mine, but I don't think it's ever too early to start with mindfulness and meditation with your kids. The reason I wanted to include this as a cool resource is because as adults, we talk, and I was just listening to NPR this morning about, people having serious sleep interruption and just having, heightened anxiety, which I think is normal. I think that's normal right now with any time we're dealing with something uncertain. There's a lot of scary health stuff happening for people we know and love. It is understandable. And we can't necessarily change that, but we can focus on managing our own anxiety and maybe how we're experiencing the world and how we're experiencing being at home with our families, which can be wonderful and really stressful at the same time. So involving your kids in that, I think, is very cool. My son connects to it much more than my daughter, which I think partly is her age at 3 and partly is her personality. But there's some really cool sleep meditations, like just to help kids relax before bed, just different ways for a little bit older kids. There's some cool ones with they call it like a body scan. Like you just kind of are thinking about, relaxing your muscles and identifying where you experience anxiety. So different things work for different kids, but that's just something that I think is a cool resource. And for adults, self-care. I mentioned this earlier. I just want to mention for a minute. Self-care is so incredibly important all the time. And I think now more than ever, I mean, keep saying it's an unusual time. So doing the best you can to take care of yourself and your family. If you don't take care of yourself, it's really, really difficult to be taking care of anybody else, right? So if you're exhausted and stressed, you're gonna be depleted before you're even starting your day. And that's just too much. So whatever you need to do, and if that does, and I know I'm not the only person who's done this because I've talked to someone else who's done this, if you have to hide in your garage for 5 minutes to get a break from your kids, make sure they're in a safe place, they're doing okay, have some space. If you can, just get away to take a walk and have your partner stay with your kids. If you can do like a virtual phone call or happy hour or something with your friends who you can't see in person, do whatever you can to just try to maintain some kind of self-care for you, because we want to be there for our kids, and that absolutely starts with taking care of ourselves. So I'm going to wrap up in just a sec. The last thing I'm just going to say is, and I want to be really real, that I am certainly no Mary Poppins, and I'm not able in every moment of this parenting at home during this quarantine. I am not positive every minute all the time. I'm not, but I really am trying my very best to acknowledge that, okay, this is a really difficult situation, but what are the positives you can bring out of this? And honestly, having this much extra time with my children is an incredible gift. And I'm, very hopeful that the world will get back to some semblance of normal in the nearish future. Kids will go back to school, things will get back to being busy. Even if it's different going forward, it's still going to be different than what it is now. And so I just encourage you, try really hard any moment you can, even just like this little joyful moments with your kids. There will be a time when they're moving away to college and you're looking back and thinking, man, that was kind of cool. I got some bonus time with the kids. So that helps me stay a little bit sane sometimes when the kids are being really challenging, because I feel like, I wish we were spending more time together for a happier reason, but c'est la vie, here we are, so let's just try to enjoy the pieces of that we can. And kiss your babies and take care of yourselves. And I really appreciate you guys spending a few minutes with me today to talk about this. So if you do have any questions or comments, or if you want to tell me how amazing those muffins are, please just leave a comment and I'd be happy to respond to that later. Okay? Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, guys. I love that. Thanks, Scott. Let's see. I don't think uh-oh. My computer locked me out. Hold on. Yeah. That's hilarious. Okay. Yeah, hold on. I'm going to try to... Okay, I think that might have... Did that end, Scott? That's so weird. Okay. It's now not talking. Uh-oh, now it stopped talking to me. Yeah, it said end live video, and I hit the button, and now it's not speaking to me. Uh-oh. Super awesome. Well, if anyone's still seeing me, then hey, join me in my journey to figure out. That is so... Okay, hold on.